Just some waffle really about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price has come down from, it was about £45,000 in January, sometime early, the early months of 2021. And now I checked it just today, so it was about £31,000, something like that. So it's effectively lost 33% of its value in a year. People are worried about the price of Bitcoin. There's this is it. It depends. You look at Bitcoin. If you're trading Bitcoin in the charts, I was trading Bitcoin in a practice account in 2017 when it went like that. Bitcoin went up and it went down. A lot of people made a lot of money. A lot of people stayed in it and lost a lot of money. And the UK stopped people trading it. Well, in the account that I'm in, it used to have all the cryptocurrencies, and then they were deleted, so you couldn't trade them. So I'm not sure if that's changed, but the UK, I think, banned crypto at the start of 2021. Trading it, but for where you can trade it, I'm assuming you can. It's now BTC. You can trade it, I'm sure. But you can either own Bitcoin. Let's say you owned it back in the day, 2000. Bitcoin was invented in November 2008 during a financial crash, recession. It's not a code, even though it's usable. But you can either own it and you bought it back at well, I was trading it in 2017 in a practice account. So I trade in a practice account because I can't afford to trade. I don't have the trading balance to do it for real, so I just trade for a practice account. I've been trading in practice accounts for years. So, but which teaches you how to stay in trades and whatever, when to trade, when to close trades and whatever. But when Bitcoin was about, I was trading at a price of about £1,300, £1,500 in a practice account, so it wasn't real money, but live prices. So that was the price at the time. But before right here, I was trading it here before it went straight up, and it went up to about £15,000. Was it 15,000, 19,000, something like that, yeah. Then it came straight back down. Then it went to then it stayed around here. After it came back down, it stayed around here for a couple of years. But see, before 2017, what was Bitcoin? It was, yeah, it had potential to be something, but it wasn't really. See, for that time between 2008 when it was invented, if you'd bought Bitcoin in 2010, you could have bought 1,000 Bitcoin for you could have bought 187 Bitcoin for a penny, yeah, in 2010, yeah, at 0.0053 of a penny. Right? You could have bought 187 Bitcoin for 1p in 2010. But in 2010, if you'd have said, there'd be people in 2010 having bought 100 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, and they'd have gone to a bank and said, I've got these Bitcoin, they're going to be fantastic in the future. And the bank would say, yeah, but they're worth nothing at the moment. Yeah, we couldn't do anything. Banks couldn't lend that. Banks couldn't lend Bitcoin when it was worth nothing. And now they would probably be able to lend against Bitcoin, but people who have bought Bitcoin back then don't need to be borrowing because they've actually made that much money on the price of Bitcoin. Because they've held the Bitcoin for many, many years. Well, many years, 13 years max. I think it's 14 years, it'll be 13 years at the moment in 2021 from the start of Bitcoin in November 2008. But then when you can trade Bitcoin, you can go into a day trading account, one that accepts Bitcoin as a trade. Or if you're in a country where you see the cryptocurrencies in options, or in trades, cryptocurrencies, if you see that, you can trade it. You can trade the price of Bitcoin. So a Bitcoin could be, let's say it's £30,000. Bitcoin could be £33,000 at the end of the day. You've only got to predict which way the price is going to go. So although you don't own Bitcoin, you own Bitcoin for, if you're day trading, you can own it for 15 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 5 hours. all day. Yeah, you can do swing trading Bitcoin if you can trade Bitcoin from your trade trading account. So, but the Bitcoin only if they reckon the Bitcoin's going to crash at 30,000 because the people that bought it at 45 and it's gone down, they've lost 33% of their money in a year, right? And they're worried that they can lose a lot more, and they could lose a lot more. But you only lose it if you need to hold on to that Bitcoin. If you don't need to hold on to the Bitcoin, it doesn't really matter. You just let it go. It is a thing at the moment. It wasn't a thing back in the. It was nothing. 2008. It's just 2017. It was something, quite something. And then if you'd have stayed in, see, for those people that lost money in November 2017 on Bitcoin, had they have done nothing at all, if they'd have owned it, say they owned it at £1,000 before November 2017, they would have made money, and yes, they would have lost money as Bitcoin went against them for 14,000, which is like if it goes back down to 1,000 from 1,000 up to 15. Let's just say it goes up to let's just say it went up to 10. It went up to £15,000 in 2017 November. But let's just say it went down to make it easy for easy numbers, right? From 1,000, let's just say it went up to 10 grand, right? You've made 90%. But if it goes when it goes down from 10 grand down to 9, back to a grand, when you could have sold out at 10 grand, and chose not to, and the trade's gone against you and you're plummeting, right? Yeah? At 1,000, you've lost 90%. But you've only lost 90% if you sell, haven't you? If you don't sell the trade, it's like swing trading options, which I do in fact at the moment. You watch my videos, I'll show you. I explain some of the trades I make. I lost this week. I was in a trade. It was 3.5 grand down, which is half my balance. Yeah, 50%. Yeah? I just stayed in it, and it made it back for me. The market made it back for me. The market will make. There's enough people in Bitcoin now because Bitcoin is a thing. It wasn't a thing back then. It was nothing. It had potential. You've just got to be able to be comfortable with the market going against you and not sell. Because there's enough Bitcoin people that will buy the dip. So as soon as it comes down 33%, that's them getting 33% off in a sale, isn't it? They're just buying Bitcoin in a sale at 33% discount. In a pound shop. It's like buying Bitcoin in a pound shop. So there's people that will buy it at that price, and it's a thing. The biggest problem with Bitcoin is going to be is if small countries with small economies, if they've got a large amount of people buying and using Bitcoin in that country, it will reduce the people that are buying using that country's currency, which poses a problem for small economies. And countries are trying to ban Bitcoin, so that the countries eventually will either ban Bitcoin or seize it, one of the two, because they've got to stop it from bankrupting their currency, which at some point will be a problem. But those will have it will just buy the things with it, like they'll buy art with it, they'll buy NFTs with it, they'll buy domain names with it, from people that accept it. And there's Bitcoin bulls, which is the phrase, people that don't mind buying it at whatever price pretty much, because they know it's going to go higher than what it was, and they reckon it's still going to go higher than 50 grand. I reckon Bitcoin will be worth more than that price of a house. That's my opinion. Don't buy it on that basis, but there's people that buy. One of the biggest Bitcoin buyers bought Bitcoin at 40 odd thousand, 50 odd thousand last year, 40-something thousand, 30 odd thousand, 40 odd thousand. Because they understand it's a patience game, and the best investments are when you just sit and do nothing and let time add value to the investment. The same with domain names. The people that are selling domain names for millions of pounds have had them domain names for 20 odd years. But they knew back then, 20 odd years ago, that domain names were going to be a thing and they were going to be valuable. Because there's only so much land on the internet that you can buy to build a website address on that isn't trademarked, which means it's going to increase in value. that's just leaving it and letting time add value to an investment. Same with Bitcoin. But that's just my waffle on Bitcoin. Adios, all good fun. And I don't own Bitcoin. I prefer domain names instead.